Why were we born just to suffer? When I made the top 5 worst Nick Jr. show video, I mentioned that they were making a Paw Patrol spin-off series for Rubble. When I heard this news, I said to myself, maybe this news is just fake, maybe this news article was made by a troll trying to cause controversy. But what do you know, 9 months later, the trailer for Rubble and Crew was released into the world. I've seen the first 2 episodes of the show. And honestly, it's not as bad as I expected. It's even worse than I expected. I'm not joking. I set my expectations as low as possible, but somehow, the show turned out to be even worse than I predicted. Firstly, the name. What the heck kind of name is Rubble and Crew? How do you expect anyone, yet alone a child, to watch a show called Rubble and Crew? When you're making a kids show, or any show for that matter, you need to come up with an appealing name. For example, PJ Masks, The Backyardigans, Higglytown Heroes, and Yo Gabba Gabba. Now not all these shows are good, but they all have creative names that roll off the tongue. But for Rubble and Crew, it seems like they didn't even try. And that's the main problem with this whole show in general. But we'll talk about it later on in the video. Now let's talk about the animation. The animation looks awful. The designs look like they were made in Blender in 10 minutes. The original Paw Patrol already looked cheap, but this show looks even worse. Now let's talk about the villain of the show, Speedmeister. Now, even though I still absolutely despise Paw Patrol, I will give it this, I like all the villains in the show. They all have a unique charm to their personalities. And does Speedmeister give out any sort of charm? No, absolutely not. This guy has to be one of the worst villains in all of cartoon history. He's just dumb and arrogant for the sake of being dumb and arrogant. Don't get me wrong, I'm fine with a villain being a complete idiot. For example, Max from Total Drama. This guy is a frickin' moron, and it's nearly impossible to take him seriously. But that's part of his charm. He never really did any real damage, and he got called out for his stupidity. But Speedmeister, he just annoyed the crap out of me. Oh, and did I mention that the stuff that he builds could actually kill someone? In episode 1, he builds a crappy bridge that if a real-life car crossed it, it would cause a huge disaster and kill loads of people. And Speedmeister would have gotten life in jail, maybe even executed. But in this god-forsaken show, they just let him off the hook. They don't even acknowledge the fact that the stuff he builds could legit hurt someone. Now let's talk about the writing. This is by far the show's weakest aspect. Also, look at this joke.
Charger, big leak behind you! Whoop, I'm on it! Whoa! Wow, Charger, you really are on it!
Oh, my God. What the frick were the writers thinking when they thought of that stupidly stupid joke? Didn't anyone at the writing staff had the politeness to say, hey, this is the dumbest joke ever written in cartoon history? Sorry for drawing so much attention to this one joke, but not even the worst comedian in the world would make that joke. The original Paw Patrol did this as well, where it tries way too hard to be witty with its writing. And whenever they make a joke, I'm just scratching my head thinking, was that supposed to be funny? But what about the voice acting? It's a bit subpar, but it's probably the most tolerable thing about this show. But the dialogue. It's bad. It's so insanely bad. This dialogue is so unbelievably boring that it's actually kind of irritating. Every time the characters say anything, I just find myself saying, I do not care. Just hurry up and build the thing so this episode can be over. Overall, Rubble and Crew should be seen for what it is, a poor attempt by Nick to capitalize on a popular franchise. Now earlier in the video, I said that the main problem with the show is that the people who made it didn't even try. And that's true. From the name, to the animation, to the writing. It seems like the creators didn't care if the show is good or not. As long as it's marketable for toys, it didn't matter. This is by far the absolute worst thing I've ever reviewed on this channel. It's worse than Spidey and his amazing friends, worse than Pinkalicious and Paterific, heck, it's even worse than Paw Patrol. In fact, Paw Patrol, sorry for being so harsh on you in the past. You are no longer the worst Nick Jr. show. Rubble and Crew is. You know, I'm actually thinking about remaking the top 5 worst Nick Jr. show video. Because a lot of my opinions changed since that video was uploaded. So if you want me to do that, let me know in the comments. Sure, the majority of the stuff I reviewed was bad, but for all the bad stuff I reviewed, at least you can see that there was actual talent and effort put into them. The Bubble Guppies and Baby Shark crossover felt like a cash grab, but at least the animation was good. In Hero Elementary, the writing is so atrocious that it's actually hilarious. And for Pinkalicious, at least it actually tries to teach the kids something. But Rubble and Crew is the dictionary definition of not giving a crap. If you somehow decide to watch this show, just know that you're watching Nickelodeon's evil scheme to make you think that they're still good because they're making shows based on existing properties. So yeah, in case you somehow couldn't tell already, I don't recommend this show to anyone. Heck, I wouldn't even recommend this show to a Paw Patrol fan, because despite the fact that it has the same characters, the show shares literally nothing in common with Paw Patrol. The only characters that appear in the show are Rubble, Creepy Ryder, and Mayor Goodway. You could just Thanos snap them from existence, and nothing would change. I'm going to give this monstrosity of a TV show a negative infinity out of 10. Despite the somewhat tolerable voice acting, there's nothing good I can say about this. This show better not get popular. If they make another show like this again, I will lose all my respect for not only Nick Jr., but Nickelodeon as a whole. Anyways, that's it for this video. Sorry that this channel was pretty much dead for the past 2 months. I had a situation with my computer and I needed to get it fixed. And now that it's finally fixed, I'm back to make some more videos. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make more videos like this in the future. And as always, see you next week.